This podcast was brought to you by Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. They have tools that allow you to record and edit right from your phone or computer. It allows you to distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can even make money without having a minimal listenership. It's basically everything you need and all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Awkward Black Nerd podcast. It's me, Daisy Kane. Hopefully you guys are having a great day so far. Mine's been, it hasn't been exciting and hasn't been horrible or anything. I was having some technical difficulties I was trying to set up the background, and I was actually going to videotape me doing my podcast today, but I was having issues with the background, and I might be having issues with my mic. I bought a new mic recently, and I did my last episode with it, and I realized it picked up on a lot of noise. So I try to see if I can fix the sound a little bit. Hopefully, it's not too echoey. And if it is, I'm sorry in advance, because first two episodes I was using a lapel mic, which I didn't mind, but I was trying to see if I could just upgrade a little bit. So I upgraded to a different mic. I'm not sure if I like it yet though, but we'll see. But the good news is I am starting to get excited for fall, starting to finally feel like fall. And the cool thing about living in upstate New York is that, you actually get fall weather, as opposed to me growing up down south, where, like I said before, you only get two types of weather, which is hot as shit or cold as shit, and you usually get those in the same day. But past couple of days here in upstate New York, it's been pretty decent. It's been warm, but it's actually been feeling like fall. Today is kind of dreary a little bit, but I'm still excited for the fall. It's one of my favorite holidays, actually. I'm I begrudgingly will admit I'm what you call a basic bitch. I'm one of those girls that gets excited about fall stuff and wearing flannel, and I'm not I try to be pumpkin spice everything, but my body, I think, is allergic to it, because every time I have a pumpkin spice latte, even when I don't put regular milk in it, it's just my body is nope. And yeah, bad reaction. So I'm not pumpkin spice everything kind of basic bitch, but I do pumpkins and leaves and just everything else fall, minus the bugs and spiders that try to come out. But also, I'm excited for fall because Halloween's coming up, and like I said before, Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. And with Halloween, all the Halloween movies are coming out. So usually around this time of year, I watch, things like Hocus Pocus and The Craft, which to this day is still one of my it's one of my top 10 favorite movies. Growing up, I related to The Craft a lot because it was about a group of girls that were outcast, and I remember always kind of not being in a popular clique growing up, but I wasn't necessarily an outcast, but there was a group of time where I was kind of muddled, mushed in that group of being the awkward girl, and in my case, the awkward black girl, hint, awkward black nerd here. So I related to that movie a lot, especially Rochelle, Rachel True's character Rochelle, because she was the token black girl in her group too, and she had issues with race growing up and stuff. So that's why even to this day that movie still rings true to me, and I'll still it still holds up. I feel like I could still watch that any day and still be highly entertained. And just recently there's I don't want to call it a reboot, but it seems like a sequel to The Craft, called The Craft Legacy. And I know they just recently released a trailer to it, and at first when I saw the poster, people were posting it on social media, I was just of course, natural reaction, oh god damn it, why can't we just leave classics alone? But then once I saw the trailer, I was okay, it kind of piqued my interest a little bit, where when it does come out, I'll give it a fair chance, because I mean, the first movie wasn't amazing great, but it was a decent movie. And this movie coming out, The Craft Legacy, is by Blumhouse, and the person that wrote it is a great writer, and it looks like it's gonna be pretty decent. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited about it. I just, hopefully they don't screw the pooch and just make it really, really stupid. Hopefully they do it right and don't F it up, because like I said, the craft is like, it holds dear to my heart, especially kind of now because I'm not fully admitting that I'm Wiccan, but I have been studying it a little bit. Like at first I was doing it for research for like a book that I'm writing, but now I kind of, I'm not saying I practice Wicca necessarily, but I do some of the practices where like I do candle work and I like do meditations and I'm I slightly study it, so like I'm practicing but non-practicing. Like I was born and raised like Southern Baptist, and technically I will still consider myself a Christian, but I'm more spiritual than like full blown like Christian, and that's kind of why like Wiccan and like other mystic things kind of like pique my interest a little bit because it's more of like more spiritual than actual like lumped into one particular like religion. But let's get off of that. But that kind of but like I said, I was talking about the craft before, and that kind of, and like how Rochelle, like Rachel True's character, was like the token black best friend in her group in that movie. And it got me to thinking about like growing up. Like I was big into teen movies and teen comedies and things like that, and looking back on it, like there was like a point in time where like even now there's like not a lot of teen movies that have like diversity. I mean, they're getting close. Like there's some movies out there where they're kind of got like a little more diverse cast, but I remember growing up that like I had a couple of girls that I looked up to, but it was like few and far between. And I guess like to go in today's episode is I want to discuss those like I guess childhood idols, I guess, quote unquote, that I had, like those like girls that I saw in like in movies that I looked up to, because I feel like, especially since I have a daughter of my own, like representation like truly matters. And like she has a couple of people that she looks up to, but it's just I don't. It's kind of, I wonder if she'll ever like have like these kind of, like when she becomes a teenager, like will she have like teen idols to look up to. And so I guess in this episode it's going to be entitled Representation Matters, and I'm going to be talking about, I hate using this word, but I'm going to be talking about the token black best friend that you kind of saw a lot in like those teen movies back in the day. And I just want to point out like a couple of those girls that I actually looked up to, because and even to this day like they still kind of hold a special place in my heart. So I guess the name of this episode is going to be Black Girl Magic, the Black Best Friend Troop. So let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk about Rachel True again, from The Craft. Um, Interesting enough, like she was in other movies that I liked as well, like Half Baked. She played Mary Jane, and Half Baked is still one of my favorite movies too. If you don't know this, like I have weird taste in movies, but I can quote Half Baked ridiculously. And plus she, because and she was also in that TV show Half and Half, like she played Mona, and I think she was nominated for her double NAACP award for that. I don't know if she won, but she was nominated for that, and she did that for 4 years. And she's like a low key like underrated actress. Like she's not like highly acclaimed, but she does a, like what I liked about her is that she never played like the stereotypical like overtly racist like stereotype of a black woman. Like she was always that earthy, boho, down to earth kind of person, and I think that's because it kind of matches who she is as a person. Because in actuality, she's a well known, like she's a lifelong occultist, and before anybody like freaks out over that, that doesn't mean she worships the devil. Like an occultist is actually a believer in like mysticism and things like that, and spirituality and magic. I don't know if she's like qualifies herself as Wiccan, but like the fact that she like what her beliefs kind of match who she played in The Craft, I thought that was kind of neat. And actually I heard that she was like a skilled tarot card reader even before she got the role in The Craft, which is like, I guess like a lot of people identify her as like that's her well-known role, like I said, Rochelle. And interestingly enough, I believe like in October, like around the 13th, she's actually releasing like her own guidebook and deck box tarot card set. um through her website, and I know like it's on Amazon too because I actually like placed a pre-order for it. Although I've never done, like, I have a set of tarot cards of my own, but I've never done them, and like I'm kind of on the fence about them. Like I've always been interested in them because I remember my mom had a set, but it's like I've never done like a tarot card reading myself. But I thought this like set that she's releasing is actually pretty interesting because I saw pictures of like the designs, and like I think it's about 70 cards, and I love the fact like they're aesthetically they're like beautiful, they're multicultural, they're bright, beautiful, very diverse, and I thought it was interesting that with the box set, she's going to be sharing like personal stories from her time in the industry. And the cool thing, I like the summary about her, I think this box set is that she says she's going with a intuitive approach as opposed to predicting like your future. I guess like what people usually go into with like tarot card readings, and these cards will actually suggest more like possible outcomes based on like the present reader's like positive energy. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and like before anybody like turned their nose up to it, like there's like this weird misconception that people think like tarot cards or tarot is like evil, and it's really not. I it's actually like people that usually do it, it's like they look into it as being like a helpful tool for like clearing just the path. Like if you're trying to make a decision about something, or you just need clarity on something, like people sometimes go to tarot card readings just to get like clarity on the situation. So I thought that was interesting. I think that's pretty cool that she's doing that, and things like that. I feel like I said, I believe it comes out like October 13th of this year. So if you guys are interested, check that out. And I know that she does like Comic Cons, and she's very active on Twitter. If you should look her up on Twitter. And like to this day, she's one of those women that I look up to because she she seems very down to earth, and I feel like this is kind of weird for me to say this. I feel like we will be friends. Like inside my head, I feel like if I knew her, we would be like totally friends. So, um, I guess Rochelle from the craft. She's like up there with one of those women, like one of those girls that I always like idolize and stuff. So, and I guess another girl that I used to idolize. This is like embarrassing, but I'll admit it. I don't care. I used to. I know probably like a lot of people that listen to this used to watch the Power Rangers, and I used to be obsessed with the Power Rangers. Like I still kind of like watch it periodically on Netflix with my daughter. Like she's slightly getting into it. Like we do Mighty Morphin, and we do Power Rangers Zeo, and we start to do like Turbo. Like we stopped when all the original Rangers like left, because I mean, no offense. Like we could all say like Power Rangers was always like camping over the top, but I feel like as years progress, even now, I think it still comes on, and it's just like maybe it's because like I'm an adult now and I'm looking at it and I'm like, God damn, this is trash. But like back then, it seemed more entertaining as it does now, and like back then, like I remember I was obsessed with the Yellow Ranger. Um, like I remember when that movie came out, like I think that's when they first introduced like it was right before like Trini, like the Asian girl left. Like it was right after that when they introduced like three new Rangers, because the original three Rangers, like the original black, yellow and Red Ranger left because of like pay issues and all that stuff. So they just try to like on the slide slip in like three other people. And I remember when they changed over to like the Yellow Ranger was now this black girl, and like I was in awe because like she seemed like sweet and down to earth, and like she was athletic, and like she can sing, and she was witty, and like I thought it was cool that like she knew karate. Like it was funny enough because I remember like my parents signed me up for karate. Like I remember taking like 10 classes for like this trial or whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna be like the Yellow Ranger, and then come to find out I'm not athletic at all. Like, I mean, maybe I could fight, but it's more like I can hit you hard, but don't ask me to do like a routine or like be disciplined, because I'm not athletic at all. But that's like one of the cool things I liked is like I liked, and there was like another Yellow Ranger. I want to say her name was, because the first Yellow Ranger was named Aisha, like the actress's name was Karen Ashley, and I think the other like Yellow Ranger when they try to like, because I think she left for the same reason, like pay and scheduling and stuff. They try to slip in like the other another black girl named Tanya, and I think that actress's name was Nakia Burris or whatever. But I just remember like even like I remember like even a couple of years ago, like I went to like this Comic Con in like Salt Lake City with my husband. It was like my push gift. Like we went to Salt Lake City like it was like our first time away from like our like we just had a baby, and it was like our first like adult trip like away from the kid and stuff. And I remember like two of the Power Rangers was there like for an appearance, and I remember it was like the Yellow Ranger, and I like lost my shit. Like I went on this rant about how I idolized her, and like all these memories started flooding back because it was like for the first time like as a child that I saw a girl that kind of like represented me a little bit. Like she was in like she came from a decent family, and like she was friendly and things like that. And like I thought that was kind of cool that to see somebody that was similar to me, because like I kind of like in school I didn't have peers like that, so I felt like watching her on TV was kind of an escape, if that makes kind of sense. And I know like she does like podcasting as well now, and I follow her on Twitter as well, and like I think she's really funny. And I think strangely enough like she's also like I feel like as an adult now, like I know she's got at least like a couple of years on me, but I feel like in my head like we could totally be friends. Sounds crazy, I know, but yeah, so that's like another person. And like even now like it's so cool when I watch Power Rangers with my daughter on Netflix. She goes, "Look, mommy, the Yellow Ranger," and it like warms my heart that she sees like you know a awesome black girl like kicking ass. So like that just kind of like it just touches like a special place in my heart. But I think like the one black girl that a lot of girls my age like looked up to was of course Dion from Clueless. Like Clueless just had its 25-year anniversary. Like it's one of my top 5 favorite movies. Like I can quote Clueless up and down. It's still, like I said, it's still relevant to this day. And you know, every like I just know every black girl like in my age group looked up to Dion, like Stacy Dash's character. Like I mean now it's kind of disheartening because of who Stacy Dash is as a person, but like just let's not look at her as a person in real life. Let's look at her like Dion, and she was fucking awesome. Like she was an idol to so many girls. Not only was she stylish, she wasn't a background player like in Clueless. Like she was opinionated. She wasn't afraid to like speak her mind, especially when she was going through things with her boyfriend Murray. She wasn't afraid to put her best friend Cher in her place. Like they had a witty back and forth. Like I like the fact that like she was one of those girls that didn't just play like she didn't play like the typical token black girl that you usually see where like teen comedies especially have like this formula where they insert like minor like people of color or like minorities around like a usually all white cast, and it's usually to build like the white main character up, or just like the white main character can play off of this person. But it's just Dion was one of those first girls that you saw that actually had depth, and like even, and I like the fact that they stayed true to that even when they tried to do like the Clueless spinoff. And like for the TV show, I think it was like on it was on ABC or UPN or one of those channels. And even though the TV show wasn't as good, you could still tell, like, you still can't tell me to this day that Clueless and Dion is not a memorable character, because she totally is. So, like, Dion will always be one of my idols. Like, even to this day, like, me and a couple of my friends still quote Clueless. Like, it's ridiculous. So, she, she is not, I won't say she's the epitome of black girl magic, but when you think of black girl magic and you talk about like these, talk about this kind of trope in like these movies, she's definitely on that list. So shout out to Dion from Clueless. But I think the number one person, like if I were to say like the epitome of black girl magic and like the I guess I'm trying to think of the word I'm going to use. Like the prime example of like that one black girl that I always looked up to growing up was like, even now, like I still think, like I still idolize her to this day because she's like an amazing woman. is the actress Gabrielle Union. Um, Now, some people may not agree with, like, some of the things she does, like, outside of the industry. And, some may say that she has an attitude, but that's what I like about her. Like, the cool thing I've always liked about Gabrielle Union is, like, whenever I see her on screen or whenever, like, you see her, like, in interviews and stuff, is that she has this air about her where she doesn't put up with anybody's, like, shit. And, like, she has this confidence that, like, growing up and, like, looking at her and at some of the teen movies she's done, it's like you kind of look and say, wow, I wish I had that confidence. And I think growing up I kind of, like, always thought that, like, especially, like, I think I remember first seeing her in She's All That. If anybody knows, like, what that movie is, it had, like, Freddie Prinze Jr. and he, like, made over, like, Rachel Lee Cook's character. Like, what was that spinoff? Like, the spoof of it. Like, what's that one movie? Not another teen movie spoofed it, but, like, Gabrielle Union was in that. Like, you probably don't remember because she was, like, one of what, three black people in that movie. It was like her, and Lil Kim, who I don't even think talked in that movie, or she did. She had like one or two lines, but they, because, like, maybe, like, people probably don't remember her in that because she played like a one-dimensional character where she was like one of the best friends of, like, the mean girl. And I think when she did talk, like, she was just, again, adding on to, like, being part of the plot, but she kind of, like, sank in the background because she was like a background player. I think she was, like, kind of added in to break up the white monotony of the all-white cast. Sorry. And she kind of had a similar role in, what's that Julia Stiles movie? 10 Things I Hate About You. I think her character's name was, like, Chastity. She played, like, Bianca's, like, best friend in that movie. But, like, again, you probably don't remember that was Gabrielle Union because, again, it was like a similar role to, like, She's All That, where she played, like, the best friend to, like, not necessarily a mean girl, but she was like a background character. And I just remember, like, I feel like they just added her in again just to, break up the, just to add, like, a pop of color, quote unquote. But I think what, like, one of her first roles that really stood out to me that, like, was like the epitome of black girl magic, like her and the other three girls that she was with, that, what's that singing group, Black. I think they played the other cheerleaders on the opposing team in the movie Bring It On. Like, I love Gabrielle Union's character in that movie. Like, I think her name was Isis. And, like, I tripped out when, like, just a couple years ago, like, she put on the uniform for, like, her Instagram and stuff. And I was like, fuck yes. Because, like, even to, like, I love that character so much because, again, it was one of the few times where you see, like, like a black girl in a teen comedy where she wasn't, like, overtly playing a racist stereotype and she wasn't being ratchet, even though, like, she came, like, that character came from, like, a, you know I guess, a quote unquote poor neighborhood and stuff. But I like the fact that the black characters in that movie were written as, like, hardworking and witty. And, like, my favorite line was when, like, the when Kristen Dunst's character was trying to give, like, the other cheerleading team, like, a check because they felt guilty. And I like how Gabrielle Union basically put the other team in a place. And it was like, again, black girl magic, like, exploded on the screen and stuff. And, like, I think maybe, like, that's why I idolize. That was probably one of the, like, first times I absolutely fell in love with Gabrielle Union's character because she. I guess from that point on, I always saw her playing roles of women who weren't afraid to speak their mind and they weren't afraid to, like, you know be opinionated and be aggressive and just stand their ground and stuff. And even now, like, I still look up to her because she she's like, she's not afraid to show that she's flawed, and she's not afraid to tell her story. Like, I just finished her autobiography, like, earlier in the year, and it's like, it was so entertaining, especially, like, the first couple of chapters. It was nice to hear her story because her story was similar to mine, like, going to school and being, like, the token black girl in, like, your peer group where, like, you didn't have, like, you were just trying to fit in with other people. Like, the way she was trying to fit in with her peer group, being a token black girl, like, I could relate to a lot. And I just thought that was really interesting. And just like, I thought it was like an awesome story. And so, if you guys ever have a chance to look up her autobiography, I suggest you do so as well. Um, but I guess, like, moving forward with the discussion, sadly enough, like, I couldn't really think of any more, like, examples of girls that I really looked up to, because I mean naturally I got older, but then, like, if you kind of go forward, like, over the years, there wasn't like a huge surge of, like, diversity in, like, teen comedies or teen movies, like, or movies like targeted towards teen audiences. I mean, sorry, I had to clear my throat. I mean, for example, like, in the Hunger Games, I mean, there was like one or two black characters, but it was like basically whitewashed. The Divergent series is another example. 50 Shades. Don't get me started on 50 Shades. Twilight's another one. Don't get me started on Twilight. I have disdain for both of those series. Maybe I'll talk about it in a later episode. But I mean, I'm not gonna knock Hollywood, because I mean, especially I guess in the past couple of years, there has been like a small, like, modest resurgence of, like, adding that, like, diversity to some, like, teen targeted movies. Like, there's a couple I could think of off the top of my head. Like, The Hate You Give. I know that was a recent movie, and I like, even the issues in that kind of ring true. The book is amazing on that. The Sun Is Also a Star. That's another, like, modest movie that has like a female black lead. Um, Everything is Everything. I think that's the same actress from the other movie I just named, but I read that book, and it's like, it has a black female lead as well. And then I guess there's like other things too, like, I guess The Descendants off of, like, Disney. So I will say, like, the industry is kind of like trying, but I feel like they could do a little bit better, especially, maybe this is kind of an issue for me, because like I said before, I have a daughter myself, and, like, it'd be nice for her to, like, have, like, something or someone that she could look up to as well. And I try to nudge her in the right direction. I mean, there's like little things that we can do, but I feel like the industry can do slightly better, but who knows? Maybe, the narrative will change one day. And on that note, I'm gonna wrap this up. You guys should let me know if I missed anything, like, if you have, like, some examples that you would like to add as well, or if you have your own opinion about it. I am open to comments. I do have a new email address. It is awkwardblerdpodcast@gmail.com. So that's awkward, BLERD podcast@gmail.com. You can feel free to shoot me an email and just, leave your comments, or if you have, like, any questions. Just try to be polite and don't send me any spam. Don't be a dick about it. You can also hit me up on Instagram as well, Awkward Blerd Girl. So that's BLERD Girl. You can find me on Facebook, the Awkward Black Nerd Podcast. And also, I did upload episodes 1, 2, and 3 on YouTube. It's just like, just audio, just another way for you to catch the episodes, just in case you don't want to, just in case you can't reach me on, like, on Anchor or Spotify and things like that. I was gonna try to, like, tape this podcast, but like I said, I was kind of having, like, an issue before, so I'm gonna try to upload episode 4 or over the weekend. If not, I definitely should have it up, like, on the YouTube channel by Monday. But it's definitely, you can listen to this episode now, like, on Anchor or Spotify or Google Podcast. And on that note, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, make good choices, and just be kind to each other. Talk to you soon.